Here we are going to find linear search. We are going to find an element by using linear search. We are going to implement linear search here. So let us see how we are going to implement it. For this linear search, so for this what I can do, let me declare an array. So int arr, and let us initialize this array with some random values. Okay, so let me assume this n value here. So what is the size of this? I can keep n as your 5 value here. So from the user, you're supposed to accept a key. So you're supposed to find whether the particular key is there or not. Okay, you're supposed to find the key is there or not. So let me do scanf %d comma ampersand of key. So we accepted key also. Now what should I do? I should iterate this array. Array consists of value, stuff value. Now I should iterate this array and I want to find whether this value is there in a key value what you are given is there in a list, this particular array or not. So let me iterate by using for loop for I value assigned 0, I less than n. Here n value is given as size, I less than n is the size which is given. And for each and every iteration, I am supposed to move my pointer to the next one, that is nothing but I plus plus. So inside this loop, what I am supposed to do is I am supposed to compare whether the key element is matching with any one of the element in array. So you can apply a condition if at all here array of I is equals to your k value. If at all array of I equals to a k value, what I can say, I can print element found. Element found in, I can mention the position. %d position can be mentioned as your output, comma, followed by I plus 1 given as your position. The reason is 0, 1, 2, 3, right? The element is found at the 0th position. Or if at all you want, you can give directly 0th position, first position, second position, third position. It's depending upon your counting system, guys. Okay. And after this, once you found, I don't need further iteration at all. I can stop there itself. So what I can do is I can apply break here. I can come out of it. I can apply break and I can come out of it. Or you can do one thing. You can place return here. I'll tell you what is the reason behind return. Here, I'll write the condition, one more statement next to it, that is nothing but for element not found. Element not found. And after this, I can have return 0 for my main. So let us have few test cases. If at all your key value is given as 2. Let me write here, guys, it is very important. Oh, it is already written. It is very important. If at all your test case is given as, let us take few cases and we'll calculate what is the time complexity and we'll execute this program. So if at all your key value is given as 2, how many comparison does this loop takes? Respond me. If my key value is 2, how many comparison this particular loop takes? For the given size, how many comparison is it required? Five comparisons for finding 2 in this particular array. Two comparisons. Guys, very simple. Let us assume this is a sequence of value. I want to find whether 2 is there or not. Yeah, I scrolled up. Guys, is the screen visible? Monali is saying screen is not visible. What about others? Is that visible for you people? You can let me know, guys, so that I can able to stop the sharing and I can share it again. Visible, okay. Monali, just check with, for only you it is not visible. For others it is visible, just check to it, okay? Okay, fine. Okay, how many comparisons does it takes? One comparison, right? initially the key value is assigned as 1. So it will enter inside. At the first iteration, array of 0 is compared with a key value. That is nothing but it will take number of comparison will be taken as 1. One comparison required. Here your time complexity where f of n can be given as a constant value big O of 1. This is nothing but your best case. This is a best case. So if at all your key value is given as 5, how many number of comparison will be taken for this algorithm? For this, by using this searching algorithm, how many comparisons do I should do here? Good, good. 5 comparisons. Good. The reason is 5 is placed at the end, right? So if at all I want to find, if 5 is there, I'll check with, sorry guys, I given 2 element, right? Let me change this as 3. Okay. So first I'll check whether 2 is 5, this 5 is matching. No. Then 3 I'll check. No. 9. No. 7. No. I'll search till end of my array to check whether the particular number is there or not. At the end of the array, I'll be finding the value. That is nothing but 5 comparison. So if this value array has 5 values, that is nothing but 5 comparison. If it has 100 value, I'm supposed to do 100 comparison has to be made. So here the number of comparison depends upon the given value, right? So f of n. What is the f of n here? What is the time complexity here can be? What is the time complexity for this for loop? Good. It is nothing but order of n. It depends upon your n value, right? So which is nothing but order of n is your time complexity. So this is your worst case.
Ma'am?
Yes?
Ma'am, if there is two same elements and we search for the element, whether it will search for the first element or keep going to search the last element also?
According to the algorithm, what we are written, it will search for the first element alone. For example, I'll clarify your doubt. As we say, let me consider this example where this value 5 is repeated twice. So let us assume the key value given here is 5. What happened initially, it will start with 0 where this 5 will be compared with 0th position, it is 2 not matching. Here at the second time what happened, the I value will become as 1. At the first place I can able to find out 5 is there. So now I check array of 1 equals to key, 5 equals to 5, it is matching. So it will display element found in index position. So I will be displayed. After this, I'll be giving return. So the purpose of return is once you give return, it will come out of your main. It will never come out of your for loop. It will come out of your main. Placing break here and return here both plays a different role. If at all you are placing break, what happens? This will come out of the loop and will print this element not found also. Even element is there. If you place break here, what happens is if the element is found also, it will display this statement. Is that clear? If at all you place break in this place, it will break only this particular loop. After this, it will print element not found. If I give return, what happen? Immediately after coming inside this if condition, this return statement will be executed, which will go out of your main loop. Is it clear? So in this case, what happened? This particular 5 will be matched. This position will be displayed. It will come out of the main. So if the element is not there, throughout the loop, throughout your array, it will be traversed. This condition will be never be matched. So automatically this inner part will never be executed. This element not found will be displayed and it will be printed. So what is the Srikanth you are asked for? So if at all you are using break or return, it is going to search for element. Your task is not going to change. Let me show you by using example. It will be more clear, right? Let me execute it. Instead of speaking word, let me execute it. Okay, the same program right now I have placed return here. What is there? Semicolon is missing. Okay. Just a minute, let me share the output window. If I give 5 here, 5 as the key value, we can able to display that element found in first position. After this, it is breaking. It is coming out of the main function itself. If I place, let me share this program again. In this place, instead of this return, if I place break, I'll show you what happens. Okay, somehow you're going to search the element at the first position. Let me tell you what happens. So instead of empty screen, let me give printf enter key. Okay. So now let me execute, guys. Right now I'm not giving here return, I'm giving break. Break in the sense it will come only out of this for loop. It will never come out of your main. So once it is coming out of your for loop, even your condition is true or false, it's going to display element not found also. Let me execute this program again. What is that? Semicolon. So okay, sorry guys. Let me share you the output window. So enter the key value has been given. So let me give same file. Can you notice here? What is the output? Element found in first position. After this, what is the statement is printing? Element not found. Is this clear? Whenever the element is found, only the position has to be displayed. I don't want this statement to be displayed. If at all element is there, if the element is not there, only I want to display element not found. In those cases, you can write your algorithm in this way. Is that clear why I use return instead of break? Guys, come on, answer me. Is this clear? Do you have any confusion in it? Okay. Okay, good. So let me do one thing. So always we people used to say I'm having best case, worst case and average cases, right? So what happens in this average case here? I will never calculate average case for this, for any one of your algorithm. So why should here, if I'm calculating average case also for most of your algorithm, what happen? Even your average cases also will remain as your worst case. So let me show you how to calculate your average case once. If at all you want to calculate average case, it is nothing but number of possible cases. We'll have some formula which is nothing but number of possible cases divided by number of cases. Okay, you can apply this formula and you can find the average case. How many iteration is required? So let me write number of possible in the case whatever the possibility the input can be, which position the value can be. All number of possible case divided by number of case. This is a formula which is used for calculating average case. So for this searching the element in a linear, the possible cases might be the given element might be present at first position, or it might be at second position, or it might be at third position, fourth position, or it can be of any nth position. I never know, right? The element whatever I'm going to search depends upon the user's wish. He can give either first value or second value. I can be of any value within the range of n. Or it might not be also. So we are giving all the possible cases, and number of cases is nothing but there are n cases. So if we know that this is nothing but sum of natural numbers. So now let us consider this as a sum of natural numbers, which is nothing but n into n plus 1 divided by 2. This is the formula for it. And we are going to make this number divided by, we are having another one division, that is nothing but divided by n. So this is the formula what we got for this derivation. So this number divided by n. So what happened when you're dividing this number? So this n and this n will be cancelled and you'll be getting a value n plus 1 by 2. So here removing the constant, what is the value you'll be getting? That is nothing but n again, which is nothing but which can be mentioned as big O of n. Is it clear? So mostly whenever you're calculating average cases, your average cases will be more or less your worst case scenario. It is not required to calculate it. So even then I'll show you how to calculate this average case. Is this clear, guys? Do you have any doubt on it? Come on, give me confirmation. We can go ahead with next one. Good, clear. Okay, guys. Okay. And next one is we are going to see with binary search. How to implement this binary search. Let me take a new file. Let me save this one. So before starting binary search, can you people let me know what is binary search all about? In case of linear search, where it is nothing but accessing, searching for a data in a sequential manner, it's called linear search. What about the binary search? How does it work? Okay, it works on sorted array. Good point. A binary search works only on the sorted array. Good. Our unsorted array, it is not possible. Okay, good. And then what else? It divides the array into half and it works. Okay. So have we came across this divide and conquer? This terminology called divide and conquer? Yes or no? Divide and conquer approach. This is one of the algorithms.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, right? So this binary search follows divide and conquer approach. So speaking about the sorted array, I got one small idea about it. So that is nothing but for linear search, we can able to implement this either in a sorted or in a unsorted. It is not rule that, right? What is Srikanth is typing something? If not found, then search array of 8. Okay, good Srikanth. Good. The process you're mentioning, good. In case of this linear search, we can able to mention either in a sorted array or in an unsorted array. So whatever the logic we are written here, right now we are written logic, right? This logic is for your unsorted array. It will work for your unsorted array. So if at all you're going to write this linear, you know that you're going to implement only for a sorted array, this linear. You can say little logic here. That is nothing but for sorted array, it is not required to implement the same logic. The reason is, let me tell you small thing, guys. Instead of this array, if let us assume our array is in a sorted manner, 2, 5, 7, 9, in this way it is there. We know that you're going to implement this linear search only on a sorted array. So if at all the given key value is 6, which is not there, so it is not required for me to go n iteration. You can stop once after checking with the 7. For that, you can add one more condition here, and here key value is less than or equals to, okay, and a key value might be less than or equals to here array of I. Guys, just look into it and let me know, can you able to get what I'm trying to say, you people? If at all this particular linear search is going to be applied for a sorted array, if a key value is given as 6, once you check with 5, it is not matching, that's fine. So once you check with 7, okay, you'll be checking this condition. First condition you can able to check with it. Just a minute guys. Here instead of pasting here, I can do one thing. Just a minute. If it is lesser, okay, no, just a minute guys. Here instead of adding a condition here, we can add above to it. I can put one more if above to it. If my array of, if your key value is less than or equals to array of I. Then you can go ahead with this process. Else break. Guys, check it out. Can you able to get it? So for each and every time, whenever I'm checking, I'll check whether my key value is less than this value. If it is lesser, I'll check with the next condition. Okay. If it is not lesser, I'll go with the next iteration. So what happened? Once I'm checking with 7, I can able to find that 6 is greater than, 6 is less than 6 is less than 7. I'll check this value will not be matching. So let me achieve few more values here. 12, 20, 40 in this way. Okay. So what happens here is, if I'm finding for 6, once it checks with 7, I can able to check here the condition where the key value is 6, which is less than or equals to 7 at this point, guys. The condition is true. Condition is true. This I'll check with you. Your condition will be breaking. For the next iteration, what I'll check whether my 6 is less than or equals to 9. Your condition fails. Your condition fails in the sense it is not required to go further iteration. Directly it will go for else loop and else and it will break the loop. So if the particular 6 is not found within the range, for sure it cannot be found within the other range, right? So I can break here instead of going till the end. I can break here. If you can apply this condition if you know that you're going to apply this search on a sorted array. This for your linear, guys. Is this clear? You're going to add only one point, which is nothing but for each and every condition you're going to check whether your key value is less than or equals to array value. If it is less only, you can able to find. We can able to check with the condition. If it is not lesser, just break it out and come out of it. Is this clear for everyone? This is the one which you can able to improvise your linear search, guys. Normally, linear search code can be written for either for a sorted array or for an unsorted array. If at all you're going to write for unsorted array, don't include this condition. If you know that you're going to implement your linear search for a sorted array, you can able to reduce your complexity where you can improvise your order here. Instead of going n iteration, you can able to avoid it just by adding one more condition whether your key value is less than or equals to your array of I value. If at all within this range, if the value is not, the element to be searched with is not there, for sure it is not going to be in the other range. You can break immediately. Okay. In this way, you can write two type of algorithm for linear. One is for linear search on sorted array, and other is linear search on unsorted array. Clear? Okay, good. And next, we'll move on to binary search. Let me share the screen. Whenever you're going to write an algorithm, have a habit of writing the algorithm in an optimized way, guys, which will help you code lot to overcome this time complexity issues. So right now we people are speaking about this binary search, which is going to follow divide and conquer method. So divide and conquer is nothing but if at all some problem is given to you where the problem is a huge problem. Instead of approaching the problem as a blind way, you can able to fragment the problem into small parts. You can able to solve the smaller parts, then you can able to combine together, then you can able to find out that the issue is solved. That is nothing but dividing an issue into smaller parts, then solving it, then fixing out the issue is nothing but divide and conquer method. For this binary search, we are going to follow this divide and conquer method. But make sure that before applying this binary search, the array should be in a sorted manner. For unsorted manner, it is not advisable. So let me take an example so that people can understand what is the process about. Here I am going to explain you only the algorithm, guys. You people are going to code for it. Let me show you what you are going to do it. a simple example. Let me take an array consists of a value, not a value, more than a value. Let us assume value is going to have a value called 3. Let me call it this is 3, 6, 8, 12, 14, 17, 25. Just let me take some random values there, but in a shorter manner. 20, okay, 25, 28 is not, let me get 29 and 31. Let me give some spaces. 31 followed by 36. What else I can give? 42, 47, 53. Okay, then let me give 55. And what else? 62. I guess this is sufficient. I given a lot of values. So this is an array. In this array, we are going to implement binary search. So before implementing searching, let me give a counting of it. This is the first element, and this is the second element, and this is your third value, fourth value, fifth value, sixth value, seventh, eighth value, ninth value, 10th value, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th position. So we are having overall 15th value has been initialized, and this is the position I have given. So speaking about this binary search, how we are going to execute? We are going to have an index position of it. We are going to have an index pointer, and we are going to continuously add this index pointer, and we are going to divide it. So we are going to have one lower point, lower index pointer or lower bound, which is where I'm going to mention my starting point, and I'm going to have one upper bound, which is nothing but maximum highest index position, that is nothing but ending point. This is what I'm going to mention. So by adding this starting point and ending point, I'm going to continuously divide and I'm going to find it out. Right now, let us take some example and let us try to solve it out. So let us assume I want to find out whether a key value 42 is there in my array or not. So let us see how this binary search works. What I told you, we are going to have index pointer, that is nothing but first one is low and next is the highest index, and next is you are supposed to find the mid index. And this mid index is found with the formula, that is nothing but lower index plus a higher index divided by 2. This is a formula for it. So what is the lower index? We are starting here with 1. So I can assume your lower index is 1. And what is the higher index we are starting with? That is nothing but 15. So what is the mid value? Your mid value is 1 plus 15 by 2, which is nothing but 16 by 2, which is going to give you 8. So right now what I'll do is I'll check if my array of mid equals to my key value. Check with it. The key value is 42. I'll check whether my 42 is equals to array of mid. Right now your mid value is 8. I'll check 42 equals to 29. It is not equal. Okay, here I can apply one condition during your checking. If it is not equal, I'll check with other two conditions, which is nothing but whether your key value is less than mid value or your key value is greater than your mid value. How should I check this condition here is, so I know that the whatever I'm searching is not there. So if this element is not matching with the element what I'm searching, then I'll search whatever the element I'm searching is greater than this value or less than this value. The reason behind searching is so that I can able to come to the conclusion where this particular 42 is in a lower bound range or within the higher bound range. Is that clear? So I'm taking this condition in order to find out in which range whatever the value I'm searching is present. So I'll check with the condition if my key value is less than mid value. If at all this is not found, I'll check whether my key value is less than mid value. Your key value searching is 42. I'll check whether it is less than my mid value, 29. 42 less than 29. No, it is not lesser. So then I'll check with the other condition whether my 42 is greater than 29. Yes. In those case, what I can determine, it is nothing but whatever the element I'm searching is within this range. So in those cases, I am supposed to set this particular boundary. So I know that this person is given already. This person is given with the name called lower index, and this person is given with the name called higher index. The last position is given with the term called higher index. Right now, I have found that whatever the element is searching is within this range. So what you are supposed to do? You are supposed to set your lower index from this. It is not required to include your mid value, guys. The reason is here itself you have checked the whether particular value is equals to mid value. So it is not required for you to check again where this value is equals to mid value. So you can able to move your index position plus 1 of your mid value. So what is the formula we got? If at all your key value is greater than your mid value, I'm supposed to increment my lower index. I'm supposed to make my lower index as mid plus 1. Is this clear? The mid value is 8. I'll increment my pointer to mid plus 1. So it will go to the 9th position. So I'll set this range. Right now your lower index value is starting from 9. Is this clear, guys? Come on. This is an important point here. Good, good. Okay. So once I'm incrementing my lower bound, what happened? Go to the position 9. So let me have my lower position 9 and higher position is not going to be changed. So let your higher position be at the same point. It is not going to change here. And right now let me find mid value for it. That is nothing but 9 plus 15 by 2. So what is the answer you'll be getting? You'll be getting 12 as the answer, right? Once you are dividing it, adding and dividing it, you'll be getting 12 as your answer. 24 divided by 2 gives you 12. And now I'll check the same condition. If my array of mid is equals to p value. What is array of mid? 12th position. 12th position value is 47 and whatever the value you are searching is 24. Both were not equal. If it is not equal, what is the two condition I told you people to check? I told you to check this two condition, right? So let me place in just a minute, guys. It's coming down. Okay. So I'm going to check condition here. So let me paste this one above. Since it is folding down, I'll paste this condition above for your reference. So right now I'll check 42 is less than your mid value. No, your condition is your 42 is less than your mid value 47. Yes, your condition is true. So what can I do is right now I've taken a range from 9 to 15 and right now I found this is my mid value and whatever value I'm searching is less than your mid value 47. So I can able to come to the conclusion my value will be within this range. So what should I do? From 12 I should decrement my pointer by 1, then I should check within this range. So what should I do? I should move my higher bound. Right now I should not move my lower bound, I should move my higher bound. The reason is your higher bound in this range it is not there. So the other range it is there. So your lower bound remains same and your higher bound should be moved by 1. So what should I do is I should make my, if at all your key value is less than your mid value, you're supposed to move my higher bound with mid minus 1. Clear? This value is not equal to element searching. So it is less than this. So move your pointer less than 1. So this is your higher bound and this is your lower bound. Now again do the manipulation 9 and right now your higher bound is modified as mid minus 1. So where is your higher bound modified after this? Your higher bound has been modified here. Right now it is 11. So this is your higher bound. So let me have here 9 plus 11 divided by 2, which is nothing but 20 divided by 2, you'll be getting 10. Again, I'll check. If my value array of 10 is equals to the key element searching. The 10th position value is 36. I'll check 36 equal to 42. No, it is not equal. Then I'll do one thing. I'll check whether this particular value 36 is 42 is less than your value mid value. Mid value is 36. 42 less than 36. Your condition is false. 42 is greater than 36. So automatically go and check the other condition. 42 is greater than 36. Yes. In those case, what I'm supposed to? I'm supposed to increment my low value with mid plus 1. Your mid value is 10. So your low value will be modified as 11. And your high value will remain as 11 as such. Is this clear? So right now again I'll check here 11 plus 11 divided by 2, it gives you 11 again. Right now I'll check 11th question. Array of 11 is equals to a key value. Yes, I can able to print my element is found. Okay, this is one of your example, guys. Let me give you two more example, which is for this is for a right side. Let us take two more cases where the element is there and the element is not there. Okay, so let me do one thing. I'll add one more cases here. So right now, let us consider one more scenario. Guys, I guess is this clear? Even though, let me give one more scenario for better clarity, guys. The key element to be searched is 12. The element is present in the array. So normally what I'll do, I'll set my lower index value. Let me clear all those things which is not required. Okay. So right now, initially we'll set your lower index as 1 and your high index as 15. This is the default one. So once you're adding this one, you'll be getting 1 plus 15 by 2, which is nothing but you'll be getting 8. I'll check with this value is equal. The key value is not equal. In those cases, what I'm supposed to? I'm supposed to check with two conditions. Whether your key value is less than mid value. 12 is less than 28. Yes, condition is true. In those cases, what I'm supposed to do? I'm supposed to modify my highest pointer with mid minus 1. So the highest pointer is 15. It will be modified with mid minus 1. Your mid value is 8. So it will be modified as 7. Okay. So for the next one, 7, this is again added. You can able to notice that 1 plus 7 divided by 2, it gives you 4. 8 by 2 gives you 4. Right now I'll check with the fourth portion. I can able to determine element form. Guys, is this scenario clear for you people for checking the element which is present? I'll tell you one more scenario for element which is not present, which is nothing but loop breaking scenario. Just let me know till this or you people clear. The values present at the first front end or the next half. You can search like this. Okay, good. Let us take one more additional scenario. If at all the element searching is not there, how many comparison does it take? We'll analyze that one. So let me add one more scenario for this. Just we are having 3 test cases, guys. That's it. This test case is for element 42 and this test case is for your element 12. Okay, let me add one more line to it. So let us assume we are going to search for an element 30 and this element 30 is not there in a list. So we'll see that how this loop is breaking. This particular concept is very much important. You should know how the loop breaks. Okay, as usual, I'll start the iteration. The lower index is 1 and the higher index will be 15. So adding these two is going to produce you 1 plus 15 divided by 2 is going to give you value 8. So right now I'll check whether my value 8th position index, which is nothing but I'll check whether here 30 is equals to 8th position 29 value. No. So what happened? I'll check immediately whether my key value is less than mid value. A mid value is 29. It is not lesser. So then it will go ahead here. Whether my key value is greater than mid value. Yes, 29, 30 is greater than my 29 value. So increment your lower index with mid plus 1. So your lower index will be incremented with mid plus 1. Your mid is 8. If it is incremented plus 1, it will become as 9. So higher index value, it will become as same. No changes in it. Okay, now let me calculate mid value again. Let me calculate the mid value again. For this value, there is nothing but 9 plus 15 by 2. So what is the value is going to produce? 24 by 2 is going to give you 12. So 12th index value again I'll check, which is nothing but 30 equals to 12th index value is 47. No, it is not equal. If it is not equal, again I'll go with the if condition. I'll check whether 30 is less than 47. Yes, it is less. So in those cases, what I should do? I know that whatever the element searching will be in this range. So decrement your highest value pointer by -1, mid -1. So mid value is 12. So it will be modified as 9. And here this position, sorry guys, and this position will be modified as 11, mid -1. Now again I'm going to find a mid value. 9 plus 11 divided by 2. So 20 by 2 is going to produce you again 10. Again check with the text 10th index position value. I check whether 30 is equals to 36. My value is not equal. In those case, again I'll go with the if condition. That is nothing but 30 is less than your mid value 36. Yes, it is less. So if it is less, what I'm supposed to do? I'm supposed to modify your mid value with mid -1. Right now your mid is 10. So your highest value will be modified as, instead of 11, it will be modified as 9. And this person also remains as 9. There is no changes in your low value. Only a high value is going to be modified, since value 30 is less than 36. So if it is less than 36, it will be of in other range, right? So I'll decrement it. Again, I'll do addition of it, which is nothing but 9 plus 9 divided by 2, which is going to produce you 9 again. So now I'll check the value at the ninth position. 30 equals to 9. Ninth position value is 31. No, they are not equal. So in this case, what I'll do? Again check with my condition. Whether 30 is less than mid value 31. Yes, it is less. So what I'll do? I'll decrement my height with 1. Already my height is 9. So what I'll do, if I'm decrementing, this person will become as 8. So this person remains as such. So whenever your height value is less than, whenever your height is less than your low value, that is a breaking point. If at all the element is not there within this range, for sure it will never be in the other range, right? So there is no use of checking again with your lower index. So you can break it here. If at all your lower index is, if at all your higher index is less than your lower index, you can break it off. This is your breaking point. Will you people write program for it? Will you try it, guys? I have told you the entire logic I have given you people. Rap and I didn't receive any response. Everyone is so quiet. Yes. Okay. So before trying, let us see what is the time complexity required for this, for each and every number of iteration. Why, Srikanth? Just hardly 4 lines. The step what I told you, the 4 steps one is there. Nothing great is going to be here. You can try it now. I'll help you out, help you people, guys. Okay. So you can look at here how many comparison. We'll see how many comparison required. If at all you want to find the element not there, in case of this linear search, it will take n comparison. But here you can notice that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Within 5 comparison, I can able to come to the conclusion the element is not there. Okay. For this value, if at all you are going to search for 12, it is taking 2 comparison binary search. But in case of linear binary search, in case of linear search, I took perform 4 comparison. And for 42, 4 comparison is done. In case of binary search, in case of linear search, 10 comparison will be done. 11 comparison will be done. So you can notice that where the number of comparison is reduced and your time complexity is also enhanced compared to the linear search. Binary search is the advisable one to use it. Okay, just try it out. Logic behind it. I'll let you know people how to calculate time complexity after writing algorithm. Try algorithm for this binary search. You can make use of this flow. Can take 5 to 10 minutes of your time, guys. Just try it out soon. Try it out. Come on, try it out soon. I guess you people are trying. Try it, try it. Guys, just I'm waiting for your response. So quiet. Come on, try it out. Try it out soon. For a long time, everyone was quiet. Shall I write algorithm here? Shall I write the algorithm? Will you people convert as a program? Respond me. Okay, who else written? Srikanth has written. Good. Low, high, okay. Key value, if low is less than a key value. Okay, good. Okay, good, good. Okay, few wants to discuss the algorithm. Okay, good. Guys, I'll discuss the algorithm. Those who want to discuss the algorithm, I'll discuss it. Just try to convert it. Okay. Only one has completed. Others are trying still. Okay, I'll write a method. Algorithm I'm going to write. I don't write a program, guys. I want you to convert this as a program. Very simple. Okay, I'll write the exact step, exact programming logic keyword. I'll write the common one. That is algorithm. So let me write algorithm here. Binary search. And this binary search takes 3 parameters. One is your array, another is n, another is your key value. Let me take these 3 one. So in this, what is the step I told you? We are going to assume your low and high, right? So let us assume that your low value is 1 and your higher bound is n. This is your higher bound. Whatever you are going to assume it. And here you can make use of your while loop. The termination condition is until your low is less than or equal to height, you are going to execute it. And here the logic inside is what I told you. Each and every time I'm supposed to check if I'm supposed to make use of my mid value. So by making use of the mid value, what are the conditions I told you people to check? The first condition is I'm supposed to check if at all my mid value is equals to your array of index. So I can check the condition if my array of mid is equals to your key value. If this condition is true, what I can do is I can print directly, or I can able to return out of this function. I'm writing a separate function, right? We can return your mid value as the index position where the element is found. Else, what else I can do? What else I can do is I can mention if my key value is less than array of mid value. If my key value is less than array of mid value, tree is not visible. If my key value, just a minute, let me share it again, ma. So let me share this one. Is this a screen we are discussing? No, right? Just a minute. So if at all it is less than mid value, you are supposed to make your height with, modify your height with mid minus 1. Else, if it is not lesser, for sure I could know that a key value is greater. So I can mention your mid value as, low value as mid plus 1. Else return 0, which is nothing but the element not found. Whatever the code I discussed, the same algorithm I mentioned here, guys. Is it clear? Will you people try to convert this as a program? Just an algorithm I written. I didn't write as a program. You can convert this as a program easily. Will you people? Okay. Good. Just try to complete soon. We'll go for sorting algorithm. You can take another 2 to 3 minutes. I've given you the exact code itself. The only thing is you're supposed to make it as a program. Come on soon. Will you try it out this and show me by tomorrow? Shall we move on to sorting? Come on. Okay, tomorrow I'll be asking. Okay, at the beginning of the session, I'll ask you to do it. Just share the code tomorrow. I guess many were in mobile, so that's the reason many people didn't type it. Okay. And next is, we are going to start with sorting. So before that, we forgot one important step. That is nothing but what is the time complexity for this? Here, time complexity here, what I can do is, if the element is present as the mid element. For example, if the element to be searched is 29, how many comparison will be made here? If the element is mid element, how many comparison will be made? Respond me. Only one comparison, right? At the first comparison is we can able to find it out whether the particular element is there or not. So one comparison. So what could be your time complexity for the best case? That is nothing but order of 1. This is the best case scenario. So whenever you are checking for the element which is not there, the element which is not there, or normal, or the element which is present which is not the particular position. So what could be the time complexity? Each and every time, how many what you are doing it? You are doing it mid is equals to low plus high by 2. So what is the time complexity we found that for dividing a loop? Could you people remember? We got one time complexity for continuous division. For iteration of 1 to n, we got some time complexity. And for division of the particular number, we got one time complexity. Guys, a day before yesterday, the last session we have seen how to calculate it. Forgot? You want me to do again? That is nothing but we'll be getting a time complexity as big O of log base 2 of n. Forgot. So which can be literally written as big O of log n. Guys, if at all you have taken notes, just take the particular page and see to it. For division, you will be getting big O of log n. That is the complexity we might have calculated. Okay. So that is the reason I have given you the overall hint of it, how to do it. At the first time, the calculation can be done as the first time it is mentioning as the value divided by 2 times. Again, value divided by 2 square times. The value divided by, which is nothing but the particular value. Let the value be n. N divided by 2 times. Second time, n divided by 2 power 2 times. Third time, n divided by 2 power cube times. So it will be going on in this way until n divided by 2 power k times. He doesn't know where the element is. 2 power k times, where this equation can be solved, assuming that when this loop breaks, whenever a low value is less than a high value, it breaks, right? So you can assume that we can form this equation as n equals to 2k. And if you want to calculate when is the termination condition, where the k will be, we are supposed to find the k value, so take log on both the sides. So you'll be getting log 2, log of base 2 followed by n. Guys, if you people present in this particular class session for loops calculation, you'll be aware of this one, how to calculate this one. So where the same iteration, if at all you're going to have a loop which is sequentially dependent on division of a value, that is nothing but you'll be getting order as big O of log n. This is the worst case time complexity for your binary search. Clear? Can you move for other sorting algorithms? Okay, good. Okay, we are done with this linear search, and next is we are going to see with sorting algorithms. Sorting in the sense, what are the different types of sorting available? Sorting in the sense, arranging in order is called sorting. And this arrangement can be of any order depending upon the condition. It can be ascending order, or it can be of descending order, or it can be of any particular pattern. Okay, this is nothing but arranging in order. So we'll see how to do this one. Before going on to it, just let me know what are the different types of sorting algorithm available. List it out. I told you that what is the efficiency of each and every sorting algorithm in the previous class. Okay, good. Bubble sort, selection sort. Insertion sort, good. Insertion sort, quick sort, merge sort, good. Quick sort, merge sort, heap sort is there. Okay, apart from this, many sorting, radix sort is there, heap sort is there. Many sorting algorithms are available. Okay, we'll see. When according to you people, for when you're preparing, at least you should know minimum four type of sorting algorithm. You should have knowledge about it. Minimum, to the minimum, you should have knowledge about it. It is wiser to know all the algorithm. To the minimum, you should have at least 4 algorithm how it is working. We'll go ahead with one by one. First, we'll see with the bubble sort. Any people let me know how does this bubble sort work? Do you have any idea about bubble sort, guys? How does the bubble sort works? Oh God, Dibyakant, Srikanth, good. Swap. Okay, good. Good. Previous one is bigger than. Okay, then we'll perform sorting. Okay, good. So in case of bubble sort, what you'll do, We'll compare with the adjacent value. One value with adjacent value will be compared, and this sorting is going to happen. So we'll take some example and we'll work on it how this particular sorting is going to occur. Okay, let us take a small example. Let us take a list of array of values. Let me take an array. Guys, in case of bubble sort, very simple, where adjacent element is compared. So we'll take a small example, 6, 5, 3, okay, 1, followed by 8 and 7, 2, 4. Let us take this is the array. And here we are going to implement bubble sort. Bubble sort is nothing but take first two elements. Guys, let me take use of Excel, guys. It will be easy for you people to understand. Give me a second. I'll put this data in Excel. Let me open Excel. Just a minute, guys. It is not sharing. Just let me find out what is happening. Okay. Guys, is this Excel sheet visible? Just let me know is that visible once it is visible. Okay, fine. Okay, let me write a value here and we'll perform the sorting algorithm. So we'll take a value. What is the value we can take here? Let me copy paste the same value. I guess in cell it will never be placed. These are the values we have taken, right? So let me assume 6, 5, 3, 1, 8, 7, 2, 4. This is the array we are going to take, and in this array we are going to perform this bubble sort. For bubble sort, what we are going to do is we are going to take first two values. So let me have an index position of it 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. These are the index position. First what I'll do is I'll take first this is nothing but first iteration. For first iteration, I'm going to speak it off. And first I'm going to take these two elements. I'm going to compare first element with my second element. Where the first element is less than, array of 0 is less than array of 1. If it is less, I'll leave it out as such. If it is not lesser, I'll perform swap operation. So what happened here is I'll perform swap of my 5 with 6. So swap is done. Right now swap is done. Again what I'll do is I'll take next two elements. Swap is done. After this, what is happening? I didn't assign it. After this, I'll take next two elements for my comparison at a second. So now I'll check whether my 6 is less than 3. No, it is not less than 3. It is greater than 3. So what happened? Again, I'm going to perform swap operation. So again, I'll do swap of these two numbers. So 3 will come here, 6 will go here. Now I can notice that a second swap is done. So for the next iteration, I'll take next two number. Now I'll check whether my 6 is less than 1. No, it is not less than 1. Again perform swap operation. So once you are performing swap operation, what happens? Once 1 comes here and 6 goes here. So these two data has been swapped. Clear? Just I'll take first two, next two, again next two values. Each and every comparison I'll check where this first position element is less than the other position element. If it is not less than, I'll perform swap operation. So again I'll take these two elements. Just I'll write first comparison alone, guys. Next two element, and I'll check whether I'll check whether these two values. Right now I'm checking 6 and 8, right? I'll check whether 6 is less than 8. It is less than 8. So no changes at all. It remains as such. Then I'll take next two elements. Is it clear? It is not less than 8. Next, it is when 6 is less than 8, no changes. Here no changes is occurring. It remains as such. Okay, so I'll move on my point to the next element, 8 and 7. Now I'll check whether 8 is less than 7. No, it is not less than 7. So if it is not less than 7, then perform swap operation here. 8 comes here, sorry, 7 comes here and 8 goes here. Let me modify here. 7 comes here and 8 goes here. Right now swapping is done. After this, again, let me take next two element. So for the next two element, I'll check whether 8 is less than. Let me modify this just a minute. I'll check whether 8 is less than 2. No, it is not less than 2. So what happened? 2 comes here and 8 goes here. So right now swap is done between these two values. For the next iteration, I'll check whether 8 with 4. I'll check whether 8 is less than 4. No, it is not less than 4. Then perform swap operation. So what happened? 4 comes here. Let me remove this color. So what happened? 4 comes here and 8 goes here. So your swap is done here. So I did swap and I'm coming out of, after this no more element to perform swap, I'm coming out of it. Here at end point I can able to conclude the conclusion where the largest value in the array will be brought to its position. So right now one element in the last position is sorted. This is the end result of one complete iteration, guys. So you can notice that this is the original array. In this original array, where the other element is not short, we are not discussing about the other element. So I'm taking first two element. If the first element is greater than second element, bring it to the next one. Again next two element. Again next two element. Again next two element. Again next two element. In this way, you keep on doing swap operation. So at the end of this operation, when you're coming out, you can able to find out that the largest value of your array will be sorted. This end result of your first iteration, one complete iteration, this is done. And for the next iteration, what I'll do is I'll take the same array here. So you can notice here this particular element is sorted, so nowhere I'm going to disturb this element. I'll go previously I started my iteration from 0 to n, the given n. So here I'll go to 0 to n, less than n I'll go. My iteration will be 0 to less than n. And here I'll go starting from 0 to n minus 1. The reason is the last position in the nth position has been sorted. I'll never display it. I never touch this one. So what happened for the next iteration, I'll take these two elements. Just I'll write immediately, guys. So what happened? This value will become as 3 and this value will become as 5. And for the next iteration, what happened? I'll check 5 with 1. 5 is lesser. So what happened? 1 will come here and 5 goes here. And for next iteration, I'll check 5 with 6. So it remains as such, no changes. So 5 and 6 will be as such. And for the next iteration, I'll check 6 with 7, no changes. So 6 will remain as such and 7 will remain as such. And for the next iteration, I'll check with 7 with 2. So what happened? 2 comes here and 7 goes here. Okay. And for the next iteration, I'll check 7 with 4, where 4 is less than 7. Your 4 comes here and your 7 goes here. After this, I told you that here I'm going to perform only till n minus iteration. This data is already shorter. I'll be bringing here. Okay. Now you can notice that the next largest value at the end of this is the end result of your second iteration, where the next largest value, this is the end result of second, where the next largest value in the list is 7 has been brought to the appropriate position. Now if you are arranging this array, you'll be getting 3, 1, 5, 6, 2, 7. This is your array, end result of your array at the end of second iteration. So where you can able to find out that the last two data has been sorted. This is the end result of second iteration. So for the next iteration, it is not required to go n minus 1 iteration. Here, for the next time when you're starting, you're supposed to go to n 0 to n minus 2. The reason is the last two data has been already sorted. Is that clear, guys, what I'm speaking about? So you're going to sort the array from your right hand one by one. Is this clear? This is all about your bubble chart. How does it work? So this n minus 1, n minus 2, n minus 3, all those things are, you can make use of this I loop. N minus I time this loop is going to be executed. For the first time n minus 1, when the second data is arranged, it will go to n minus 2. When the next data has been brought to the appropriate position, then n minus 3, n minus 4 and so on. Will you people write logic for this, guys? Just try it logic for this one. I have told you the process behind it. You can have 5 minutes of time. Make use of 5 minutes of time and try out the logic. Guys, by tomorrow, I want everyone to join by using laptop. Don't join by using mobile. It will not be easy for you people to type the code. Since we are going to speak about algorithms and all those things, it will be easy for you people to code it then and there. Okay. Just try it out. You can make use of 5 minutes of time where those who are joined in mobile, you people just can write the logic part alone. Logic part hardly takes 5 lines. Just try it out the logic part alone. Try it out soon. We'll be seeing about all the algorithms, guys. Complete all the sorting algorithms so we can have a glance of it. One is posted. Okay. Yes, written as algorithm, says Srikanth. Okay, good, good.
Good. Others? Others, come on soon. Try it out. Others were quiet. Come on soon, guys.
Hello? Hello? Guys, is that audible? Only one has sent. What about others? Everyone is quiet. Even it is mobile, you can able to ping me, guys. What happened? Guys, by tomorrow, I don't want this to repeat. I want you people to try out the logic. Yeah, Chinmay has posted. Okay. Try out the logic, guys. I was keep on saying this. This is the exact logic. Good, good. Chinmaya, your outer loop has to be executed n minus I time. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's right. N minus less than n times. Good, good. That's right only. And inner for loop, J loop has to execute n minus. Oh, good. Good, Chinmaya. Good, good. Your logic is right. Good. Yeah, that's right, Chinmaya. Just a minute. Outer loop is n time and inner loop is n minus I minus 1 time. Good. You're right. Since every statement has been mashed, there's small confusion. Good. That's right. Okay, guys, we'll see the algorithm. I got only 2 answers from you people. Others are so quiet. What happened? So let me write Bubbleshot algorithm logic alone here. So or else we can go to the editor. Just a minute. Give me a second. I'll share back the editor. Okay, we'll go ahead with Bubbleshot here. Let me have new file. Let me save this file. The file name, just a minute, guys. File name is not be given with spaces. That's the rule. Okay. We'll have this one. Let me have, sorry guys, Python was fun doing with Python for a few batches. So Python, they'll be using diff. Okay. Bubble sort. Here, let us assume for this function, you're going to accept the parameter. One is your array and one is your size of the array. So let me write the header file hash include stdio.h. And this is your function logic which you're going to fill. Let me complete my main part here in main. And inside this, let us declare an array. And let this array consist of random values in this way. And let your n size value be size b 5. Okay. So now let us call this function Bubbleshot. And here I'm going to pass your array and followed by the size of the array as a parameter. So by passing this, you're going to print the sorted array. This is a rule. Okay. Now let us execute it. Here, sorry, let us go ahead with the logic. I told you execute. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to arrange this data in an order. For arranging this data in an order, what I told you, we are going to be at this point and you're going to make first 2 values, next 2 values, next 2 values. So I'm going to make use of 2 loops for this comparison. One is I loop, another is j loop. Now let us start our comparison. Yeah, I loop starts with 0 and I goes to n less than n and followed by I plus. And just j loop. Next is I'm going to make use of this is nothing but I'm supposed to start from beginning. I'm supposed to go till end. So I have mentioned here till less than I. It's still less than n. Guys, you can stop before one step itself. I'll tell you what is the reason behind it. Just give me a second. Let me complete this j loop. The j loop is going to start with 0 and this loop is going to execute till n minus I. N minus I in the sense I told you that in the first iteration goes till n times and next iteration n minus 1 times and next iteration n minus 2 times. The reason behind is the last data is keep on arranged in order. It is not required to go to less than n times. That is not required to go to n time for each and every shot. You can go to n minus 1 time and your J loop is going to be decremented. Clear? So inside this, I'm going to take two elements. First two elements, next two element, next two element. So you can notice that if I'm taking first two elements, 0, 1, 1, I have mentioned less than n. So what happened? It will go till end of my value, right? If I take this two value, for next iteration, I'll take this two value. Next iteration, I'll take this two value. For the next iteration, I'll take these two value. You can notice that less than n is in 0 to less than n. If 5 is there, 0 to 4 is my index position. So what happened at the last index value, it will take 2 and one more value, it will be searching for it. Guys, got it what I'm saying? If I given less than n, it will take 2, along with it, it will take one more value. The reason is, here the logic what I'll write is, if at all my array of j is greater than array of j plus 1. If I'm writing condition like this, it will take 0 and plus 1. Again 1 and 2. Again 2 and 3. Again 3 and 4. Once you're coming less than n, 4 and one more value, there is no value at all, right? So for this comparison, you should stop here. So you're supposed to mention n minus 1. So here you're supposed to add one more element, n minus I minus 1 as a condition part. Is this clear with the looping, guys? Why I mentioned this one? Shall I proceed further? Come on, respond me. Okay, Srikanth, I'll explain you again. Here normally I've taken this as my array. This as my array. We'll be going to 0 to, this is the index position 0. The first element is given with the index position 0. And next value is 1, and next value is 2, and next value is 3, and next value is 4. Initially, let me remove this minus 1. I'll show you what happened. I'll remove this minus 1 here. Okay, so I told you that my loop is going to execute 0 to less than n. So 0 to less than n is n is 5. So it will go from 0 to 4. Your loop is going to be executed. So I'll come inside, and this condition I applied this due to the logic for the after doing first iteration, I know that the rightmost element will be sorted, and for a second iteration, next rightmost will be sorted. So it is not required to go till n value. It is sufficient to stop till n minus I value. It is nothing but n minus 1 will be sorted for first iteration. N minus 2 value will be sorted with the second iteration. N minus 1 in the sense, n value is 5. 5 minus 1 in the sense, fourth position value will be sorted at the end of the first iteration. N minus 2 in the sense, 5 minus 2 by the third position value. To this, the value will be sorted at the second iteration. At the next iteration, n minus 3, which is 2. At the third iteration, you can able to find the last 3 elements will be sorted. So it is not required to go till n. It is sufficient to stop till n minus 1. So I mentioned this one here. So here, looking at your I loop, you are supposed to still more optimize. That is nothing but for each and every iteration, what I am doing, I am taking my I value and I plus 1 value. If I mention like this, at the first iteration, you can notice that your loop will go from 0 to n minus I. At the first iteration, I value is 0 and n value is 5. So 0 to 4, less than 5 in the sense, it will go to 0 to 4. So if I'm going to 0 to 4, at each and every time, if I'm comparing with my if statement, what happened? I value is 0, 0 with first element will be compared. For the next iteration, 1 with ij will become as 1, 1 with 2 will be compared. For the next iteration, 2 with 3 will be compared. And next iteration, 3 with fourth value will be compared. But what happened? I'm making my loop to go till 4, right? So what happened? Again, it will take 4 as my j value and it will check for the next value. There is no more value beyond my index value 4. Isn't it? No more value beyond my index value 4. So what happened? Automatically, it will throw you an error. In order to avoid this, I'm supposed to go only till n minus 1. So what happened? My loop will stop here itself. So being at this position, if I check for the next element, I'll have one more pair will be there. So it will stop here itself. So if you add -1 here, you're supposed to add -1 here also. Now this is done. Now you're going to compare each and every element. So during your comparison, I'll check here array of j is greater than array of I. If it is greater, perform swap operation. So swap is normal. You can make use of with temporary variable or without temporary variable. It's up to your logic, guys. Store this array of j in temp variable and make array of j assigned with array of j plus 1. Okay. And after this, make your array of j plus 1 assigned with your temp value. Normal swapping logic. Nothing great here. So now your logic is done. Now let us print and see whether it is working fine. Now here itself we can print it, guys. Either you can throw your back, you can print your array in your main, or I can print here. It's up to you. Percentage D of array of I. Now let's execute this and check to it. So sorry, here this lines to be commented like just for our reference we have made this one. Temp is not declared. Trying to use it, right? So for sure to throw you error. Still what else is pending? Semicolon, ARR, N. Okay, let me see the declaration part. For your understanding, I made all those things. ARR is passing, N is passed here, and N I'm declaring. Good, now it will work fine. Just a minute, let me share you the output window so that it will be clear with seeing the output. Guys, is this clear? Your data has been arranged. Your output, whatever the input you're passing, everything will be arranged for this algorithm. The only thing is you should know from which end your data is being arranged, either from your right end or from your left end. The data will be sorted from your right end. So you should find out this logic, that is nothing but n minus I minus 1 is the logic behind your bubble chart. That the data is sorting from your right end. Clear? By tomorrow we'll be seeing about all the other one, guys. So make sure that you're having your laptop. So I'll be telling what is the working procedure for each and every algorithm. I'll guide you people how to code it, guys. So if at all you're having laptop, it will be wiser to code for you. So I'll tell you the working flow of it. It will be easy for you to convert it. Only for a bubble shot, I'll be arranging from right end. We are comparing with your selection shot, you'll be coming at your left end. For each and every shot, the arranging method will be varying. Is that clear, guys? Do you have any doubt in today's content? Come on, respond to me. Clear, okay, clear, okay. Clear, okay, good.